Hey everyone, welcome to our last Zoom session. You all have been amazing with sticking throughout this process. By now, hopefully you have your baby chicks with you. I will be again rotating between this main camera and then you'll see the Jonette Mungo iPad camera that you'll see like some brown paper towels. You see my hand coming into frame there. I'm going to pull up some chicks and we're going to talk about what's happening with their baby chicks right now. So let's start with a couple of reports that I have heard from around the city. So I realized that some places did not have very many to hatch from their eggs. And, there's always a percentage that will not. So don't feel bad about that. But there are some other places that had a really great hatch rate. So, and that's really good. But I did the project here in my office as well. So I wanted to see and experience what you all were seeing and experiencing throughout the process. And I had 12 eggs in incubators here, and only 6 of mine hatched. So to me, I feel like that's a horrible hatch rate because that's a 50% hatch rate. But the ones that did hatch are doing very well. So I'm happy about that. And I went around on Monday and collected some other chicks that weren't doing so well. And that happens for many reasons. And this project is one of the great things to teach about the life cycle and about how nature processes through birth and young that are born in. So I do want to speak a minute about that, and I'm going to show you all a couple of my little ones. Come here. I'm going to bring your friend, and you'll see that the two of them together do have some mobility issues, which I think some of you have a couple that also have some mobility issues, but here they are. Oh, look, you just pooped in my hand. Thanks. That's really nasty. So here they are. Those are the two that I picked up they're definitely small birds. They are the runts of the litter. You see they're a little bit wobbly, but they do get around and try to run as much as they can. So they're isolated and they are in, let me see if I can find them on my desk with my camera. There they are. So you see they do get around and they are pretty mobile. So they are together. They have been together ever since I picked them up. So they fluffed up real nicely. You see he's a little wobbly, but that's okay. The more they eat, the more they drink, the stronger they'll get, and the stronger their footing will get underneath of them. So they're putting on weight. This little guy here is still pretty little, and but this one is doing pretty good. So that is our triage chick care update for these two little guys. I'm gonna go put them back in the brooder now because they are running all over my desk. Come here. Oh, you're so fast. Okay. There you go. So they are back there under their hood. And I'm going to get some hand sanitizer for myself. All right. So you see, again, if they can stand, if they can get to food and water, then they have a great chance at surviving and making it through this really tough period called hatching and incubating. So that's really good. So there are certain things that happen each process and each step or phase of the project. And of course, as you know, when they are in the incubator, we have to take care to make sure that the humidity is correct, and we also have to make sure that the temperature is correct in our incubators while the chicks are forming inside that egg. And that is important for a couple of reasons. If we change the environment in which the chick is developing and growing, then it can cause some developmental issues with our chicks. Now, there are a lot of variables in this project that can make it somewhat difficult to tell exactly what happens and why we don't get good hatch rates. So I ran two different incubators in my office. One was a constant temperature, and the other one, I was, we had to work with it a little bit. And so that could have been the reason why I had a poor hatch rate. But if you look at your calendar of chick development from every day and every week and what was happening, if there's a temperature spike or a temperature drop, then whatever processes are developing or whatever internal organs are developing in our chicks on that day, it can impact how that chick develops. So you might get a chick that has a bad circulatory system. And so if that happens, then our chick, I've got people in the waiting room, then that chick may not develop well um, if it is the time period in which their GI tract is developing. That's, their food and how they process and digest. If we have changes in temperature, changes in humidity, moving around, if it's not then that can also lead to things not developing well. And so when the chick is inside the egg, we just don't know what's going on in there until that chick hatches and then or doesn't hatch. But one thing that we don't want to do is help the chick to come out of the egg, because if the chick is not strong enough to come out of the egg, then it's very possible that there's something wrong and it didn't form right inside of the egg, and we don't want to open up and that environment unless we're doing like scientists do, where they performed a necropsy, where they go in and find out what actually happened in there. And that can actually help scientists learn better what to do and what not to do as we are incubating eggs. So I did do a little bit of research because of our late hatch, and I found some conflicting information. Now, we kept our brooders, and the paperwork and the documentation and the research that we went with said to keep our brooder temperature set at 99.5. Well, I have found some other universities that are reporting that their brooders are at 100.5. And that one change, a half a degree and a degree change in temperature in our brooders, can determine the length of time and the development that it takes our chicks in the egg. So I am finding such conflicting information that next year, I'm going to experiment some over the summer and see what results I get. And next year we might make a change in that to go along with the new things I'm finding that conflicts with the 99.5. But when we are trying and learning new things, we have to upgrade and update sometimes, and that's kind of part of what this is all about. But I also have some reports where chicks are hatching and they're alive and they're doing well and they're thriving, but then you come in and they don't make it through the night, or you're adding them from other classrooms in with yours and they're dying and we don't know why. And I can't tell you how a chick goes from being healthy to suddenly it's not surviving. What I can tell you is this, teachers, if you remember from our training, these chicks, some of them are very strong, very vocal, and others are smaller and weaker. And these chicks, nature is taking over right now. All right. So it is survival of the fittest. And so all the kids and the teachers, what you all have to do now is observe and watch the behaviors of your chicks. If you see that the stronger chicks are picking on, remember we talked about bullying, and picking on and bullying the weaker chicks, it is possible that they are assassinating them. Chicks like to be with the ones that they hatched with in their hatch groups. So when you start mixing them together, sometimes they will fight. And these chicks with their feet and their claws and their beaks, if enough of them gang up on any one chick, it is possible that they will kill that other chick. So you have to be very mindful of that and very observant of those behaviors, because the strongest and fittest chicks are typically those ones that survive and go on to grow up and breed and make more chicks or make more animals. And that's the way it is in the animal kingdom. And so our job is to protect them so that I can get back about 800 chicks here in my office so I can hear them all chirping in the hallway on Friday. So you have to watch, keep them separate. If you have some that look like they're struggling a little bit, take them out of that brooder and create a smaller brooder for those particular chicks, so they can thrive in their own environment. So those two chicks that I just showed you are still in triage care until they get really strong and I start seeing more feathers coming out. By now you can observe that your baby chicks are starting to get their wing feathers in, and that makes it a lot easier to tell which one is a pullet or a female, and then which one is going to be a rooster. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that if you haven't already done so with the ones that hatched in my office. And I adapted one of them, so it's at my house. So I've got 5 here in my office that hatched here in my office that I'm going to show you. And I will show you how to look at their wing feathers so you can see and tell which ones are girls and which ones are boys. All right, so I have some information in the chat box. I'm going to copy and paste it in there again because if you arrived a little after 1, you're not going to see it. So there we go. I just sent it in there again. Chick drop off, remember, is Friday. So let me go grab one of my chicks that hatched that has some wing feathers that I can show you. Here we have one of our babies that hatched this week. If you can see the baby, give me thumbs up in your camera. Everybody put your thumbs up if you can see the baby chick. All right, awesome. So this is one of our girls. I went ahead and marked our boys so that I would know which ones to grab out of my brooder box. And so I'm going to hold her. Come here. They were all sleeping. So you see how her wing feathers, let me find my camera. There we go. So you see her wing feathers are starting to come in quite nicely. So it's going to make it really easy to see. So when we're sexting our chicks, we want to make sure, or we're looking for primary and secondary feathers. So they're primary feathers. All right, we're going to put it between my thumb very gently because we don't want to hurt our chick. And we're going to spread her wings out. Don't poop in my hand, please. Thank you. And if you see how those feathers are, some are long, I'm not hurting you. Be still. See how those feathers, some are long and some are short? Those shorter feathers that you see are called secondary feathers. And those long ones are called primary feathers. So that pattern of long, short is indicative of this being a female. So this is going to be a hen who's going to lay more eggs. So we see that pattern, and if you spread them out, you'll see that really short and long pattern. So the short ones are secondary feathers, and the long ones are primary feathers. And because her wing feathers are coming in so nicely, you can see them really well. All right, I'm gonna go put you back under the heater. You ready? You wanna walk around? What you gonna do? You gonna say hi to everybody? All right, let me go grab another one and show you. All right, I'm gonna put you back under there. Come here, boys and girls. So we're gonna grab 3. And these are, all 3 of these are boys. So I took a blue highlighter and just marked their crowns so that I could tell when I grabbed them which ones would be girls and which ones would be boys. Who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Here we go. So now when I spread his wings out, you're not going to see that same pattern. But the smaller they are and the less their wings have come in, the more challenging it is to see. Come on, be still. So if we look, his wings are all about the same length. So we don't have that beautiful tall, short fan. And if you look, let me see if I can get a better, they're all the same length. That is letting you know this is a little boy. Let me see, spread them out so the kids can see. So you see they're all the same length. Even the ones underneath are all the same length. So that lets you know this here is a little mister. All right. And same thing. Let me find my camera again. Here we go. Say hi. Hi, hi. And once again, come here. You see with his wings, even the ones that are underneath, they are still all the same length. Some of them have started to fan out, others haven't fanned out just quite yet, but they're basically all the same length. So that too is a little boy. There he is, his little fat self. All right, boys, I'm gonna go put you all back. Let's go get one of the girls. I ended up with 3 boys and 3 girls from those that I hatched. Somebody has dropped poop on the paper towel. Who did it? All right, say bye-bye, boys. And there's poop in my hand. Oh, that is just nasty. And we will get us another paper towel. I'm going to move this off. I was prepared. This is why you don't hold on to baby chicks. Because they poop whenever they feel like it. And it's nasty. Yes, it is. Very gross. I have baby wipe. Yes, let's get that off. That's really gross. All right. Poopy baby chicks. I know you guys are loving that, right? All right, let's see. I'll take you and you. Thank you. All right, this time I grab both of the girls. There they are. So I think I grabbed you before. Come back and you'll see they're already trying to run and take flight and fly. Come here, be still. Show them your pretty wings. So she's a little younger. So her wings have not popped open and fanned out quite so much yet. But if you can see, her secondary feathers right back here are, well, at least I thought they looked shorter. I'm looking at them now and they're a little bit shorter, which could mean that it's a boy. The boys don't always line up so perfectly. Sometimes they're just she literally flew out of my hand. Don't literally line up quite so straight. So I will see if I can check the other wing and fan out, and they're a lot shorter on this wing. It's okay. It's okay. I know you were sleeping. There we go. So if you see, pull back some of that down. See if you can see some of those little ones underneath the long ones there. There's a little one peeking out there from my finger. And so it's so short. There you go. You happy now? See, I'm balancing on my fingers. Birds like to perch. You gonna flap your wings and fly down? Go ahead. There we go. Yay! So these are our 2 girls from that batch. So the more you watch them and the more their feathers start to come in, you'll catch them pruning their feathers. And everywhere where they prune, it's kind of like when babies get their teeth in. As babies get their teeth in, it itches and they want to chew and gnaw on things, and you'll see them pruning in their feathers, or rather in their down, as their feathers start to come in. All righty. Okay, girls, you ready to go back under your heater? You can see the difference in the size of them as well. Come here, stand up side by side. Slide them over. There they go. Into focus. So this one is the smaller one who just ran away. And they're all flapping their wings trying to get away now. So teachers, be careful when you bring them back on Friday. If they are jumping taller than your box, you want to make sure you close up your box and put a lid on your box. So I want to go back and talk a little bit about the chicks that you're finding that are a little weak. Let me admit a couple more people into our meeting. You can go to Tractor Supply and pick up some 2 products. They're not expensive at all. They come in packs of 3. So if you feel like your chicks just need a little bit more oomph, some probiotics and some electrolytes to keep them hydrated. We don't want them to get dehydrated. We don't want them to have cake butt. where their poop is coming out and it's caked all up around their vent hole. That can be a dangerous thing for the chicks. So you may have to pick them up and look underneath of them and make sure that that's not happening while you're gone. So again, you want to adjust the height of your warmer to make sure the chicks are not getting too hot and that you're giving them enough space to move away from the heat if they need to be cooler. But Tractor Supply, you can go to uh, a feed and seed store, really anything that carries products for baby chicks. These are electrolytes and probiotics that you can put into their water. They are meant to go together, so you basically just need to get a gallon of water and put 1 pack of the probiotic in and 1 pack of the electrolyte in, and then fill up their water dish with this. And so this will give them a few extra vitamins and nutrients that they need if you are worried that they're getting more unhealthy the longer that you have them in the brooder box. Okay, so again, I would caution you against mixing chicks together from different classrooms. I know we talked our very first Zoom about different things that our young little birds could come in contact with that could make them unhealthy, and that one thing is the avian flu that's going around. So if many of you have other pets at home and you come in and you're touching our birds, you might there's a possibility that you could give them something from home, from one of your pets at home, that could be making them sick. It's possible that there's something coming in at night when we're not there and somebody else is picking them up and touching them when we leave at night. That is, creating an issue there. So you just want to monitor them and keep track of that. All right, now that cake butt that I was telling you about, cake butt, that is when they poop, and you saw it pooped on my hand earlier. And chickens will pee and poop at the same time from their same hole, okay, their butt. So it all comes out and it's liquidy, and then it'll be mushy, almost like pudding, but a little firmer than pudding. And that's normal. It'll have some white stuff on it, and it'll be brown, and it'll be wet. So that's normal. If your chick is pooping nothing but yellow fluid, that there's something wrong there. That chick is not healthy. I don't know how long it will make it. I had the first 3 that I brought in, they weren't pooping normal, and they did not make it. So their poop should be not completely liquid. It should be solid, kind of like mush, and it may have some white on it, and it'll have some water that comes with it. That's normal. If you notice that it's caking up around your chick's vent hole, around their butt, basically, then you need to wash that off. So take them over, run some not hot, but warm water over it, because that'll loosen it up. It'll break it up. You want to clean it up. You can clean them very gently. You can use a sponge. That's what I recommend instead of a paper towel, a nice sponge. All right, rinse all of it off. Make sure it comes off. Make sure that there isn't any skin that's raw or irritated or anything like that. I actually went out, and because I had a couple here that were looking a little iffy, they have something called Hen Healer, and it is, I don't know if you can see it, it's called Hen Healer. It's a little ointment that is made just for poultry, just for chickens. And if they get sore spots or anything on them, then this is an ointment you can rub on. It's safe for them, and that will help to heal that spot. But make sure that that chick is getting plenty of fluid. If you have one chick in your incubator that's like that and all of your other chicks are running around fine, then take that chick and isolate them away from those other chicks. So just in case if he does have, something, he won't spread it to the other chicks. A lot of poultry diseases are spread through their poop. So you see they walk all over it, they're sleeping in it, and then chicks peck at the ground to pick up food that they've knocked out of their feeder. And so if food is on top of poop that's infected with some type of bacteria or some type of germ or whatever that is making the other chicks sick, then it's possible for them to ingest it, and then they too will get sick. So isolate that chick out, clean out your brooder box, put in fresh bedding, put in a new bottom, whatever it is you have in there, to make sure that their living area is nice and clean and free of any of that. So there's that. Let me see some of the questions. I'm going to the chat box now. Do you know any specific restaurants will have our eggs? I do not. I do not know which restaurants our farms service. So I can't answer that question. How do we bring the chicks to me on Friday, and will I have boxes for them? Yes, I will. So what I am doing between today and tomorrow is I have probably about 20 boxes outside my office that you all will bring your chicks. And when you bring them in, the boxes will be lined up in the hallway. And if you need to take your container with you, of course, I'll let you go away with your container. And they'll each have their own warming light or a warming heater plate, water and food in each one of them. And I will sort the chicks and put them in their boxes. So you can take your box with you, and or you can break it down before you leave and toss it in one of our recycle bins outside. I don't need to keep your boxes. I have everything set up because we'll be transporting them. So throughout the day, I'll be sorting to make sure that each one of the farms are getting the number of chickens that is equitable and roughly equal to them too. They should survive on the way here, but if it's a cold morning and you're transporting your chicks, then you can put them on the floor of your vehicle and turn the heat on. So that way they have some warmth coming in there to them. If they have wings and they're taking flight and getting a little lift, then close the box or put a lid on it, put some wire across the top so that they can't get out and be running around in your car dropping you little gifts. All right, let's see. If I have to remove a weaker chick, will they be okay without the heat lamp? No, they will not. The chicks cannot regulate their own body temperature, so they have to have a heat source. So giving them a heat light, or a warming plate, which is some of the newer designs that are out, because then you don't have that bright light shining in them or the red light shining in them, and it's meant to emulate the warmth of the hen if they were with the moms. So, and they really like to be under that. I've noticed. I've got both set up. So yes, so that's how you want to do that. If you don't have a secondary heat source for your chicks, then see if you can find a way to utilize your incubator. Because remember, your incubator also is a heat source. So if you can put that incubator, just the lid, over your brooder box after you've cleaned it out, then that is another way that you can create a second heat source for any chicks that are a little weaker. Just make sure the box is big enough that they can move away from the heat if it gets too hot in there for them. And you know that that temperature is set at 99.5. Because that's what we had our brooder set at. And that's similar to what I did with my chicks as well. And I'm going to pull my iPad off and walk across the room and show you how and what I did. So I'm going to go back and pin my my iPad so that you can see. So here is our triage. And this is one of my, okay, let's see how I can make it smaller. No, let's go back and do it this way. Okay, there we go. So you'll see that is my vent hood from one of my other incubators. Because it's round and my box is square, I have the cord, actually this is a paper box from like Xerox copy paper. That little slit in the side here was perfect for putting the cord through and holding it above the chicks. And I put 2 little dowel rods through the box, so that way the vent hood would rest nice and flat. And so it just comes on and it's blowing warm air down into the box. And the handle on the box, go down, I moved in so that one end of the brooder, hold on, sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out where my camera is here. It's coming out through that side end there. And so inside of my brooder, you'll see the chicks in there. They've got their waterer and they've got their food, which they are standing inside their food dish right now. Ironically, they haven't pooped in their food plate. They tend to poop on their their pad that's in there for them. They fall asleep in there too. Since you see why we now have the waterer dish that does not allow them to get inside of that, because they will fall asleep and drown in there. And we want to protect the little silly little guys. There they go. All right. So that's one extra thing that you can do. I'm going to unpin that now because I've got it in my hand here and it's a little weird. All righty. Let's go through and see some other ones. Yes, I use a non-toxic highlighter to mark just their down feathers. I didn't get it on their skin. It's only on the top of their down to mark them as boys at the top of their heads. So one has poopy butt. So what should you do? Wash it off. Grab some gloves, grab some warm water. Dawn dish detergent is okay to use. It's very mild, but you probably don't need it. Just some warm water and a sponge, and let the water break it off and break it up, because if they can't get poop out, then it'll create a blockage inside and they're not going to make it. Okay? And then watch them, move them away from the heat, reduce the temperature of your heat. Or it could indicate there's something wrong with that one particular chick if all the other chicks are okay. So isolate them out. One of our heat lamps went out. We are trying to get another lamp as soon as possible. We were thinking of putting them in one brooder in the meantime. What would you suggest? Okay, if you do combine all of your chicks into one brooder, you really have to watch them and make sure they do not fight or beat each other up or sit on each other and assassinate each other. That is the thing with that, just watching them and making sure they're okay and making sure they're not too crowded. So make sure that brooder box is big enough to accommodate that many chicks, and make sure that their water source, there's enough water for all of those chicks as well. So that way they have room to get away from the heat if they get too hot. Because naturally, putting them all together grouped up is going to increase the temperature in your box. And so if you have a bunch of chicks in there and their body heat is going to be there, and you've got the heat lamp up there, they might be getting overheated. So if they don't have a way to get away from the heat that lamp is kicking out, they can't regulate their own body temperature, which is why we have to put the heat lamp there, but we certainly don't want them getting too hot either. And again, like I say, the other option is use the top of your incubator and create a heat source using just the top part of your incubator that was emitting the heat during your incubation. And that's a good way to rig that up. Now, if it is the light fixture itself, that's an option. If you need a bulb or a lamp to go in it, you can just buy the bulbs to go in your brooder. I actually bought a box of those as well, because the lights that we had left over from last year just have a regular floodlight in there, and they don't have that red filter on it so that the lights are not super bright. And you can buy these in the box. Remember, you want to get the red because you don't want super bright lights shining in their face. And they come in a box of 2. I don't think they're any more than 10 bucks. And so that is an option, and of course a choice for you as well. Okay, we have one with pasty butt, and we put a little petroleum jelly under its butt to help the poop slide out. Is that okay? I have never done that before, so you let me know how that works, because I've never done that before. But as long as you are wiping and washing the pasty butt off before you apply the petroleum jelly, I think you'll be okay. We know petroleum jelly is good at protecting against chafing and raw skin and any type of skin abrasion. So let me know how that works out. One is showing some labored breathing. Besides giving it electrolytes, what should we do? Well, pray. That is what I can tell you. Pray and hope for the best. They're very small at this point, and labored breathing is not a good sign. Please separate them out from the rest of the chicks. Do not have any sick or weak chicks in there with strong chicks, because they will beat each other up and they will assassinate. So try to keep them hydrated as possible. Make sure it's not too hot for him, and keep him separated out, and really hope for the best. So hopefully he'll get stronger as he has room to breathe and grow. And that's really the thing. Making sure that they have food to eat, because anytime you take in good nutrition, it's going to help them to be stronger and build them up to be stronger. You're very welcome. All right. Now, how much does a chicken weigh? That's a good question. They don't weigh any pounds, I can tell you that. They only weigh a few ounces at this point, okay, or grams, I guess I should say, is the better calculation to weigh them. If you have some scales in your classroom, then I suggest you get your teacher, ask your teacher to put your new babies on your scale to find out which one weighs the most and which one doesn't. And you all can look at them and figure out which one you think is the biggest and take guesses for what you think it would weigh in grams and ounces, and find other things in your room that weigh as much as that baby chick to give you an idea of just how heavy or light those babies are. They don't weigh very much. They're very light. And that's one thing about birds in general. When you look at the anatomy of a bird, and when I say anatomy, I mean like their structure. So birds fly. Chickens actually can get lift and they can fly short distances. When they grow up, if you do not clip their wings, a chicken can fly very short distances. They're not like birds that can just go up in the sky and fly around. The birds that go up in the sky and fly around, their bones are very, very lightweight and quite hollow, actually. But the more weight you put on the bird, the harder it's going to be to fly. But chickens are not built for flight. So just keep that in mind. And if you do clip the tips of their wings, they won't even be able to get up very far to fly up on your front porch or anything else. But chickens can get enough lift when flapping their wings and running that they can get up into a tree and roost up in a tree at night. I've had that happen before with my chickens when I lived in the mountains. How do you know if they are male or female? Well, you know if it is male or female based on their wings. And Lauren, you might have joined in a little late, but we did take a look at some of our wings on our chickens to see if it's male or female. And if you stick around for just a second, I'll pull another one out and show you the difference between a male and a female's wings towards the end there. All right. Let's see, I'm looking through my emails now to see if I missed anything that anyone asked me earlier. Let's see. I am recording this Zoom, which I'm sure you all saw, so I will be sharing this Zoom out again on the Embryology webpage for you. So you can find it there later if you would like to view it later. You are more than welcome to do that. I'm going to put the link in the chat box again, just to make it easy for you to locate later. Please remember that you are bringing your chicks back here on Friday. Please, please, please have your chicks here before 4 o'clock. I will be here at 7:30 in the morning on Friday if 7:30 is an easier time frame for you to get the chicks here to the office. I will be here. Bring them early because I've my schedule and my ag agent Roy's schedule is kind of tight. So we want to make sure that we can get them to the farms by 5 o'clock, as we'll be driving in different directions doing our deliveries. So please have them here in our office by 4 o'clock. And if you have an incubator that you borrowed, please bring that back on Friday as well. And make sure that if you have not done so already, you have emptied out your incubator. Please empty out your incubators. Turn them off, clean them out, 10% bleach and water solution to disinfect the inside. You do not want anything carrying over from this hatching season to next hatching season. And I'll tell you again to clean it out again next year before we begin the project as well, because you always want to start and end with a clean incubator. So kids, make sure you tell your teachers to clean the incubators out now. All right, I'm pretty sure they're smelly with all the hatching shells and stuff from this hatch. So a 10% bleach and water solution. Wipe them out, clean them out. Don't forget to look at your heater coils in there to make sure you don't have any down that is wrapped around those coils, because you'll be surprised at how that down comes out and it gets everywhere. All right, and just to reiterate, probiotic and an electrolyte in a gallon of water, and start feeding this to your chicks because that'll give them some vitamins and some extra nutrition and things that they need in their digestive tract. It might actually help to resolve some of that pasty butt too that you're getting with your chicks too. And these are really small packs. They work together. It's okay to combine both packs into the same gallon of water. And that is just an extra helpful starter for your babies. All right. Before you all leave, what I would love for you to do, teachers, is to type in the chat box for me what school and how many chicks you had to hatch real quick. So that way I can begin to formulate an idea of how many boxes I need to set up in the hallway. And if you have any fun names for them or anything like that, that'd be great. And if you don't mind, I sent out an email with the evaluation for the project. I would love for all teachers, if you could please fill that out for me to give me some feedback for what we can do differently next year, what we can do better next year, what we can add to the program next year, and also things that worked well this year that you like, that you want to keep, and maybe some things you want to get rid of. We'll see. But I need that feedback because it helps me to adjust the program to your needs that we have. So, all right, good job. Thank you all so much for that chat box up. And please post up some questions too. Let me check the Q&A, see if there's anything. Nope. You have a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A. So if you look down at the bottom, your bar at the bottom, there's something called Q&A. You can put a question in there and I will answer that question too. 9 out of 10 hatched and 3 out of 9 hatched. All right, 5 chicks, Pineapple, Phoebe, Henny Penny, what is that? James and Bozo. I love it. 9 hatched in Hill's class. Not sure how many from the other, maybe 8. These are good. Mother's Day out had 8 chicks to hatch. Good. Providence, 9 eggs and 2 hatched. Ooh. Might have to review and take a look. 20 out of 20. All right. Well, it's always a gamble. We never know what we're going to get and what's going to happen. Hill has 9 out of 12. That sounds great, guys. I'm really excited that you did this project and you got to learn a little bit from these baby chicks. I love the baby chick names. You all did a good job with that. Our chicks are pigs. We had to buy more food. Yes, I am realizing that too this year. They are eating quite a bit. I do have a little bit of food left in my office. What's today? Wednesday? So if you're getting to the end, rather than buying a small bag, because the small bags are like $8, but if you can come here and bring a container like the size of a coffee container or something like that, then I might be able to help maybe 2 or 3 of you with what's left over in my office, because you're right, they are eating. But that's just what babies do. What do babies eat? They eat a lot, they sleep a lot, and they grow a lot. And that is all part of the process. So here's a question for you students. Now that you know, what are the things that we have to provide our baby chicks in order to take care of them while they're young and little? So tell your teachers, and teachers, you can type that into the chat box, their answers. There are a couple of things we have to provide the baby chicks. What is it? Food, water, heat lamp, and air. Very good. That is exactly correct. So when they are this age, they need food, they need water, and they're going to need that after they get old too. And they need a heat lamp and air. And as they get older and when their feathers all come in, they no longer need a heat lamp because they can regulate and maintain their own body temperature. And their down feathers, those soft, really fluffy feathers that they will grow, those are the ones that keep them warm. And then their longer feathers, like their wing feathers, those are the ones that they use they can get wet, but sometimes they can, the water will roll off, but that helps them to take flight as well. And they're always pretty colors. Very good. And of course, they need oxygen, and they'll always need food and water. Very good. Well, it is 1:47. I know you all have several other places and things to go and do, but please remember, teachers, you can always email me if you have any issues with anything, any questions. But I would suggest getting some probiotic and electrolytes. I mean, they're like, what, $2? If you see that your chicks might need a little extra something or another. Okay? All righty. Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate seeing you today. And congratulations. You all made it to the end of the embryology unit with your babies. You were all brand new chick parents, chickie moms, and chickie dads. All right, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care of those babies. Bye-bye.